We are live. Hey, everyone. And
Hey, folks.
what episode is this? 38?
Yeah, I know.
Jesus. We're gonna be approaching that 50 mark real fucking soon.
Yeah, 12 episodes. It's not that long. It's only a year from now.
It's wild. Anyway, you want to start us off?
Yep. All right, let's start off with a prayer. So should I do it with an apple cider, or should I do it with this Odin-looking barrel-aged barbaric yop?
Yop.
Okay.
Yop is something about yelling, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
A great yop is a utterance or a shrieking or a yelling. Ooh, this smells really fucking good. And it was aged in rum and bourbon barrels.
Oh, neat.
From Black Rocks in Marquette, Michigan. I bought this for those of you who've never been. I bought this from Horrocks, and Horrocks is a Lansing-based, like big ass grocery store. All kinds of cool shit inside. I saw this on the shelf. Saw the yelling, one-eyed old man, and I was like, okay, I can take a hint.
Yeah.
God damn, that is really good. Fuck, I'm going to find this now. So, barrel-aged barbaric yop. Good shit.
Nice.
All right. I hail to the gods of plans. I hail to the gods of choice and care and consequence. I hail to the gods who draw up plans. I hail to the gods who make the hard choices. I hail to the gods who outline and decide. I hail to the gods who plan, who do logistics, who do all the bullshit background work that goes unnoticed until it's time to work. Hail to you, O holy ones, blessed ones who bring forth the fruits of the earth, who bring forth the blessings of the barrel, who bring forth the tender mercies of the works of all our hands. Hail to you, O quiet gods, O crafty gods, O cunning gods, O wily gods, the gods who get shit there no matter how hard it is, the gods of transportation, of rail and road, of sea and sky. Hail to you, O blessed ones who make our modern lives possible so that I can be sitting here, toasting you, drinking this, sharing this space. That's through Heil. Ooh. Yeah. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking it's not quite a spirits with spirits, but it is kind of a homemade cocktail thing. I guess it's kind of a twist on a margarita, kind of. So it's 2 ounces of pomegranate juice.
Mm-hmm.
3 little heavier than 3 ounces of tequila. Just shy of a 1/4 ounce of lemon juice, and then 2 ounces of Grand Marnier.
Ooh.
Yeah. A Maleck Rita. That's going to be the name now.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, it's pretty tasty. When I first made it, it was only 2 ounces of tequila, but it was not nearly spirit forward enough, so I added the extra ounce, and it really helped.
Nice.
And 2 Luxardo cherries, with a heavy dose of the syrup in there, which helps with the kind of sugar content, because I prefer my tequila drinks to be pretty sweet.
Okay.
So, yes, Jason, it is sweet and tasty. Also, we've got a bunch of people here. We've got Melkor, we've got Indy, Josie, Jason, and his fiancee Corinne, Emily Hall. Lots of folks here tonight. Hey, y'all.
Awesome. Good to see you all. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I'm starting with.
Oh.
Starting with rum chata in my coffee for caffeine. I am also doing that.
Nice.
For those who don't know, rum chata is a liqueur cream. Yeah. Very good.
And as Josie says, sorry if you can hear background noise. The cat decided now is the time to use the scratching post. Yeah. Cats are going to
cats.
So, you know.
Cats, they do what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, we are ostensibly talking about con catch-up this time around.
Ooh, god damn, that's really good.
Yeah. Rum chata is good in basically anything.
Everything?
Like, yeah. Because it's rum, but it's also spices and cream, so like yeah.
I'm curious. I might mix this with the. So I was kind of a cheap bastard and bought a whole shitload of Costco like brand whiskey and stuff.
Ooh. So Jason says, "I will go get some rum. Mackinac Island aged rum is actually quite solid." I believe that. I love small distilleries and like getting products from them.
Traverse City.
I've heard really good stuff. I was actually going through. So I'm moving soon, and like I'm kind of in the process of moving now, but it's blown over time. So I was going through my old bottle collection because I keep old bottles that I've drank and enjoyed and things like that. And I was going through my old bottle collection, clearing out ones that like aren't actually very important, but I saved because I make bad decisions sometimes. And I found a couple of old bottles from Straw Hat Distilling, which is a very, very tiny distillery in the town where I went to college. Blended Scotch from Costco. Yep.
No worries, Indy. It's not spiced.
Yep. But yeah, and it's their. I had their. One of the things that I had from them was their rum, which again was quite good, despite being from a literally like a garage-sized distillery in a fucking tiny town in the middle of South Carolina.
So it's one site better than a whiskey, a moonshine still. Understood.
Yeah. The funny story is they actually so there's the common oh, you can distill your own liquor as long as it's within this gallon limit for your own personal use. Rumor that floats around every single state that's state law, and in almost no states is that actually state law. In almost every single state, that's absolutely not the case. And if you distill at all at home, you can get arrested for that.
Yep.
So they actually almost did that when they started, because they were all just under the impression that this was true. And then their wives talked to a lawyer friend, and they're like, "No, do not do that. Do not do that." And so they started their own distillery because they were just like basically a bunch of engineers who were having fun.
Hi, we're bored, have too much time on our hands. We're gonna make our own distillery.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a really neat place though. Straw Hat Distilling. They are almost entirely solar powered. They actually got a grant to install a bunch of solar panels and stuff on their distillery. Yeah, it's a really neat operation.
See, I hear Straw Hat Distillery and I immediately think of fucking One Piece.
Oh, so. Yeah. No, I know. And yes, of course it was engineers.
Of course it was engineers.
Yeah. And they are, I believe, auto engineers too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I've heard of y'all mixing rum chata. This is from Josie with a bunch of different things, and I haven't heard anyone complain about it. Nah, very true. I have yet to find something that rum chata doesn't go with. The only thing is that sometimes you got to back the rum chata off to get the other flavors because of how heavy it's spiced.
Yeah. And to answer Josie's question, can't make it at all, or specifically
can't make it at all.
Can't make it at all. In most states, you cannot distill on alcohol on your own. In fact, having a still without a license in most states is illegal in and of itself.
Yep.
It's
which is why NASCAR is a thing.
Well, yes.
Real quick, Melkor in the Void. I don't know any engineers who can drink that don't microbrew. I mean, it's kind of like having a type, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's like engineers and scientists. I have had moonshine, and I'm not going to say we're past the statute of limitations. Yeah. I've had moonshine that was distilled by a high school dropout, and I've had moonshine that was distilled by a actual scientist with a PhD. There's a marked difference, and people with science degrees, people with engineering degrees, you see this cool thing and you're like, oh, I can do that, and then you figure out how to do that, and it doesn't help that a lot of us are neurodivergent and like get a special interest in it and do the thing.
It's not moonshine, it's alternative fuel. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So really quick, I am going to actually try that Costco whiskey real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, it is strong stuff. Oh, it's smooth.
Nice.
Oh, that's really smooth. I'm sure the glass helps.
Glencairn, yeah.
Yeah, the Glencairn helps, I'm sure. Because usually my horrible heathen ass is just using these tumblers.
I mean...
That definitely has a different nose and
flavor. Yeah, no, it's definitely better. But yeah, it definitely makes a difference. I know that Kirkland brand, which is Costco, Kirkland brand Irish whiskey is also very good, and I believe it's a 10-year age statement whiskey, which is impressive for
considering they're selling the shit for basically $30 or $40
for a liter or 1.75
years. Yeah. It's cheap. It's very cheap. I need this still to make DI water. I swear. That's why it's so clear.
Yep, definitely. That definitely will hold up in a court of law. I am not a lawyer.
Especially if you've got a science background.
Yeah. And Jason,
I was born on a Monday, not last Monday.
Right. And Jason specifically also has a chemistry background. Like, yeah
bullshit. Good luck.
But yeah. Anyway, Convocation.
So Con, speaking of, I need this thing to be clear. I had a fucking ball. I had a great time this year. I am also potentially a crazy person because I had 4 of them. I hear tell that is a lot.
Yeah, teaching 4 classes is in fact a fair bit.
A skosh. Sad I missed you too, Melkor. Melkor said, I'm so sad I missed y'all. Us too.
Yeah. Is the excuse I usually hear. Yeah, technically you can.
Sarenth, I beg you to rest. You're adorable. Do you know who you're talking to? I am resting.
But yeah, I was at con. Technically, I was at con almost every day, but I only had a ticket for Saturday, which I only bought. I actually bought the ticket so that I could go to the masquerade ball because kind of everyone I was hanging out with was going. But then none of us went to the masquerade ball. We just went to the
Detroit ritual.
The Detroit ritual, which was phenomenal. And I am very glad that I went to the ritual. It was actually the only ritual that I was like specifically interested in going to.
Which is ironic as hell because I wanted to go to that fucking ritual. And I ended up having to sub out for Diane because she had been tapped to judge the masquerade ball for the kids and the adults. And it was like, I have a 9:30 ritual. I can't. The day after Convo spent playing classes. Yeah. We'll get into that later. Maleck did the social track, lol. Yes.
I did. I really did. I spent actually all of Con basically hanging out with Indy and their partner, which was a phenomenal time. Indy flew in from out of state to see Con and hang out. So, I was going to hang out. Yeah, it was a really good time though.
Mm-hmm. So I got there Thursday, since I probably should just take these days in order at some point.
Yeah.
Good gods. Let me think. Actually, it's one of the first times in a long time that I've actually been to an opening ritual, and I don't regret going because it was really good.
Good.
Because Baba Teddy and Lady Kate did the opening, and they invoked Elegua. It was very funny to listen to the Three Pagans and a Cat episode because they couldn't tell what Baba Teddy was saying. I could. Oh, boy. Oh, fucking boy. I'm like, he's asking Elegua to open the gates. Oh, shit. This is a combo ritual. Ooh, understood.
For those not familiar, including myself, who is Elegua?
Elegua is the Orisha. Papa Legba is what a lot of people are familiar with. Elegua is his Santorian cognate, I guess you'd call him. Papa Legba or Elegua are the ones that open the doors so the other spirits can come in, so that he is basically a gateway god that closes off the ritual or opens it, and no rituals happen except through him.
So crossroads keeper, that kind of thing. That makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, I think one of the classic places that you can meet Elegua is at a crossroads. But I am not a Santero. I am not part of Ifa. Take all of that with a grain of salt. I know people who are. So, but as soon as I heard him singing Elegua's name and doing the invocation, I was like, oh, fucking K. Road opener, yes, thank you. Will be Emily's previous. I would like to participate in more things next year, but I really enjoyed Convo and the classes and the people whom I did engage. Previous, you said the day after Convo. Yeah, we'll get to that later. Road opener, thank you. Yes. So Elegua is the road opener. So that's how we started off the ritual, was a combination of Elegua opening the way and them explaining the Kabbalistic meaning of going down the tree and coming into manifestation over time, because Khan already ascended the tree and now we're coming back down off of it. And I believe next year is Hod, which I believe translates to wisdom. I am not a Kabbalist. Please do not quote me on this, but this is what I understood.
And my understanding is next year is the last in the Kabbalistic tree.
Oh, interesting, because they must be smashing Hod and Malkuth together or something. I don't know.
I could be wrong. I could have misheard or misunderstood from what
I don't recall, but I have no idea. But anywho, the opening writ was really good. There have been some rituals for opening and closing where I've missed them, and I am really happy I didn't this year. They passed out these little Tree of Life tokens I really dig. They're now part of my Taufer bag. It was really nice to open up the ritual. The place was packed. I would say most of the people who were going to attend the weekend were actually there, which is very unusual for Con.
Yeah. It's really good that opening rip was good. When I went in 2020, hot as splendor, says Indy.
Thank you, Indy.
Nice. When I went in 2020, the opening ritual was honestly really lackluster. Like, I was very disappointed with it.
A lot of the opening rituals for Con have tended towards the Wiccan or Wiccanate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do a lot for me anymore. And it's no shade to Wiccans, but it also was clearly a multi-traditional ritual. Slotted into a Wiccan style ritual, and it sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, and I think that was what kind of was disappointing for me, was in 2020 at least. I wasn't at the opening rite in this year, but in 2020 the ritual was kind of trying to be too much at once, right? Like trying to be Wiccan, trying to also slot in all of this Kabbalistic tree stuff. Trying to also be general pagan without any kind of direct, like, it was just trying to be too much at once. And I was like, nobody showed up when you called, except for you, because you know what you're doing. They showed up when you called, but nobody else showed up when anybody called. All right, well, I guess that's fine.
One of the things I really dug from the opening ritual was they gave space for people to grieve the last 3 years, both as a concept and particular people that we lost. They actually set up a space in the registration area to for people to add glass beads to the tears bowl that symbolically held our tears from the last couple of years. In my own case, I actually got to call it Elisheva's name and the name of my grandfather, both of whom were lost in this year and last year, and a couple of other people that I've lost to COVID over the years. And it was very impactful that they gave that space to that, and it was very much a feeling of coming home for me at the opening ritual. So I was very happy to have been there.
That's good.
And then a fire broke out immediately afterward. Closing ritual stopped. They finished, and 2 minutes later, all of a sudden, all the
fire alarms go off.
Fire alarms really go all the way the fuck off. I agree fully with Emily here. I think Baba Teddy made a huge impact to opening ritual, feeling potent. Baba Teddy, if you ever get a chance to go to one of his rituals, go. Baba Teddy and Lady Kate do really good workshops, and they do amazing rituals. Nice. Yeah, I've never been to something of theirs and never come away either feeling like I'm going to burst out crying or like I'm going to float off the ground. And yeah, opening ritual ended, and then fire alarms. Yeah, pretty much.
Like you do.
Because starting gone off right.
All right. So what else happened Thursday?
So Thursday, I went to the Throwing the Bones with Jackie Mercer. Fucking amazing, beautiful bone reader. Found out I'm sitting there, I'm trying to take notes, and I'm like, shit, this isn't going to work. And I was feeling this really weird feeling as I was trying to make notes for Jack's workshop. And Jackie's workshop was a Throwing the Bones, and Jackie is entirely spiritually taught on this. Jackie works with 93 fucking bones or something like that, or 73 or 90, a lot. Yep. And not all of them are strictly speaking bones. They work with half a walnut shell and stuff like that. Yep. So it's definitely a curio bones kind of throw. And they're really amazing at it. I got to read alongside them for a 3 Pagans and a Cat episode. It's one of the 3-hour ones, so some people might have skipped that one. 93, thank you. Yes, thank you, Emily. It was 93. For the Thelemics in the audience, this number will not be lost on you. So a fabulous class, but I found out really quick that most of the stuff would have no use to me writing down because it's all spirit taught and was particular for Jackie's system. Now, people could use that as a starting point, but my bone set kind of just was looking at you you already have your marching orders on this shit. Don't even bother. But it was really cool to see an assembled bone set and what their casting mats looked like. For me, the casting mats were more interesting than the actual bone throwing.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
So for those in the audience who don't know, Jackie is blind, and the format of the mats that they use in their bone throwing matters.
That makes a lot of sense.
Some of them have different textures. Some of them have different patterns in them. And some of that comes into play when they are making their readings.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Melkor says, stares at my growing bone set. Yeah. Yeah, we got a reading tomorrow. It'll be fine.
I found the casting mat info to be really helpful.
We both clicked. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Nice.
Maleck, we're fighting tomorrow.
Yeah, it's fine. You'll win. That's fine.
So I think that's the only thing I actually did for that first. I'm going to be a terrible host and find my phone because my schedule is still pulled up on here.
Oh yeah, do that. You're not going to remember.
Oh no, ADHD plus we're doing all this shit. Nuh-uh.
Yep. I am kind of sad I missed that class. But that's okay.
Because it was an open question if I was going to go to the Throwing the Bones or Off the Reservation, the Red Road and Pagan Culture.
Yeah.
That looked really fucking cool. But I actually left it up to the spirits, and the runes told me go to Jackie's class.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Janet Callahan, I'll talk with her at another time, and maybe we can exchange things.
Yeah. No, that'd be awesome.
I was going to go. Oh, you know what? I did go to one other workshop. I'm sorry. This is why I have this thing pulled up. Yep. I went to Into the Unknown, Engaging Safely with the Otherworld, which was put on by Nicole and Kai and was fucking awesome.
Nice. Good.
I think for me, the funniest part of the class was somebody being disabused of the notion that Paracelsus told us anything useful about the otherworld in terms of the Fae.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just making shit up.
Yeah, no, like that's how that went. Look, I don't know shit about the other world. I don't know shit about Fae lore. I've got people I go to for that. Kai and Nicole are one of them, or two of them. Like, it's fine. But yeah, let's see. Josie says, I love Jack's class too. I felt like attending finally gave me mental permission to put together my set. I was hesitant because it's not all bones. Neither is Jack's. Wait, that's okay? Yay!
That's awesome. I am so happy for you.
Also, Emily says, I really wanted to go to that. Glad you took notes.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm glad they had a handout because holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, to Josie's point, my bone throwing set is also not entirely bones. It's majority bones, but there's a piece of glass, some stones, like...
Which is hilarious. The bone set I'm putting together is literally all wolf bones.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Me either.
Because... Well, and I say that, like, my bone throwing set is very specifically for the pack spirits. And I'm getting... Much like with Jack, it's spirit taught, right? Like, I'm not learning from a book. Like, I've read Lupa Greenwolf's book on it, but that was just to understand how she does things.
Right.
It's not at all how I do things. My stuff is basically all spirit taught by the pack spirits, so it's all very... Ooh. That's interesting. Emily Hall says, I know someone who might be using all crow bones for a set. That is really interesting. To
swerve back to the class, someone got really grumpy when Kai and Nicole strongly disagreed when the person said, fair elementals, right? I about died fucking laughing, which probably didn't help any. They end up leaving, I think.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not elementals. They're not.
Completely fucking different thing.
Yeah. It's almost like these are creatures with their own lore and history.
Wild.
Fucking weird.
Yeah, so like my bone set is specific to the pack spirits, and so I'm putting in the pieces that they said.
Right.
But like for you, for your divination stuff, you've got such a strong relationship with the runes that, which isn't to say that I don't, and I need to mention that, otherwise I will get yelled at. But yeah, no, like I need to say that and be very clear that I do have a strong relationship with the runes, and that's not going away. But your relationship with the runes is closer than mine is, and a lot of the pieces that I have in my bone set would just be things you would go to the runes for.
Right. No, and that makes total sense. Like sometimes you're putting together oracles to fill in gaps your other systems don't have, or you don't have with your other systems.
And the things that you would go to a bone set for are things that the runes not can't do, but don't specialize in, if that makes sense.
Nope. And that's exactly why I'm being told to pick the certain pieces that I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I'm really interested to see how your set turns out. Like that's...
Oh, me too. Especially because I've already been told what the pieces are. I just got to get them.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. All crow bones sound fancy. It kind of does. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. No, really does.
Oh, and to reference, that was the comment they were responding to. I know somebody might be using all crow bones. Yes, that would be fucking awesome. See, and I like this shit because going to these workshops normalizes this.
Yeah. So Melkor says, I got 3 non-bone pieces in my set at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, wait, is anyone not putting together their own casting set? Lol. No. What's really fucking funny, though, is I think at the same time that you got your marching orders to get your lots done was about the same time that the wolf spirits came through really hardcore. I think this might have been when you were developing pack tradition stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the wolf spirits came through really hard and were like, start assembling this now. This is a multi-year project.
So Indy says, I did mine a while ago. And also, well, now I kind of want a bone set too. So Indy's got a really neat, and they did a reading for me and it was phenomenal. A really neat divination set from deer antler tips with specific symbols carved into them that they've received through a bunch of stuff. Really interesting, really, really good. Technically, the antler tines are bones.
They are. Yep. Antlers are bone.
And
horn is keratin.
Their divination set and skill as a diviner is phenomenal, and I'm going to tout them again. In part because I know it'll make them embarrassed, and in part because they deserve it. But also, yeah, the distinction between a bone throwing set and their divination system is not a ton, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you started the trend, Indy. Also, that set is so cool. Yeah, it is actually really, really cool. And I don't remember. It's gone.
It's all good. Yeah. So, like I've said before, if you can go to a workshop with Kai and Nicole, do so, because they are fucking hilarious and they're really good at pinging off each other. Nicole can rapid fire like a son of a bitch, and Kai provides that kind of slow, almost meditative way of speaking, and it sets each other off very nicely when they're presenting. But it also, when people ask them questions, it's really fucking funny to watch them dive on the same question.
Mm-hmm.
Because they come at it in such different fashions. It's really cool.
Yeah.
What I also really liked was they clarified some things, like what the fuck cold steel is for most people who don't know. That's literally just like cold iron, cold steel. It's literally an edged weapon. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You can stab. Why will the fairies die to this? Because you can fucking stab them with it.
Yeah. No, that's what that originally meant. Now it's the lore has changed some, but like originally, yeah, it was. What do they die to? Murder.
Getting stabbed. Fucking weird. Me too.
Wild. Who knew? That's like the joke that a bunch of vampire lore. Yeah, you kill him with a stake through the heart.
Most things will kill. Yeah.
That'll kill a person. Like,
yeah. Turns out. Fucking weird.
Decapitation. Light them on fire. Wow, those are things that I also do not want done.
Hot damn! Almost like it will fucking kill organic matter.
Wild.
Things die when they are killed. Yes, thank you, Jason. God damn it. So, yeah, like I said, like seriously, if you can go to something by them, do so. The Otherworld stuff they had to bring to the table was fucking awesome. And then the next morning was my Encountering the Runes class, which a stupid amount of people showed up for a 9:30 class.
This is my shocked face. Notice that it is not shocked.
What will I do with my $10,000 cold hammered meteoric iron sword then? Break it, because that fucking shit's gonna have no edge and no heft to it.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm glad you blew $10,000 on a wall hanger.
Indy is kidding here. For this.
Oh, I know.
But like, yeah, no, like,
no. The Encountering the Runes course, well, not course, workshop anyway, went really well. I know when I've made a good workshop, but I know part of what makes a good workshop, what makes it an excellent one, is when audience participates, and audience definitely did, and I really appreciated it. Like, y'all are fucking troopers for showing up at 9:30 in the morning, let alone 30, 40 some odd of you. So yeah, that really made me feel amazing because I know what a pain in the ass it is to show up at 9:30 on a Friday. Supposedly, some saints survive fire, decapitation, etc. Now I'm picturing a saint versus vampire standoff. I mean, is there a difference for some of these? Just saying.
Saint Vlad Tepish, the Impaler.
Oh boy.
All right. So after the workshop, what happened?
See, Friday I took that. The problem was I wanted to go a whole lot of shit and had no spoons for it, so I think I went back and just chilled out in the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Rob. That's our three other woke so I had to go. Yeah, that's true. So poor Indy and their partner couldn't get into their hotel for the first night because we had a whole shitload of poor people who got stuck at the airport, and they kind of shoved them all into local hotels, ours included. So there was a bunch of con goers who, because of the stupid storm, didn't get their hotel room until the day of Friday or even into the afternoon that day.
Yeah. Emily says, if you got any sleep with that snoring, it was a win. But yeah, so Indy and their partner ended up stranded at the hotel and couldn't get into their room on Thursday night, so stayed with Emily and Sarenth, which was very nice of y'all to put them up.
Hey, no problem. That's what we do. You can't sit here and bitch about people needing to be here for people and being here for one another and community and then not doing it. So
yeah,
I was just happy that the room I picked had a fold-out couch because I was like, God, I wonder if the room I picked has a fold-out. Turns out, actually, it does.
Nice.
So, didn't go to anything at 11 or 12, and then 4 p.m. I had my calling to the Ancestors workshop. So,
I heard independently from other people that went really well.
It really did.
Good.
So, for anybody who's been hasn't been to this, calling to the Ancestors is a combination lecture and workshop. So much of the first, let's see, these are like hour and a half. So like most of the hour and 15 minutes, for the first hour and 15 minutes, I'm just talking about what ancestors are and how to talk to them, worship them, etc. Aw, thank you, Indy. HP's awesome. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, so hang on. So Emily, thank you for reminding me. So the Saint Kona, I received this. Beautiful. This is rabbit fur. And yeah, this is, love it. This is a representation of the first Saith Kona or Desir or Volder. This was gifted to me by the artisan who made this for con. These were for sale in the con art room. And she handed me this at the start of the Ancestor Workshop. So very happy. She has been hanging around with us since con. Like whenever we go out anywhere at this point, I think she's gone with us. So she's pretty sweet. She's been looking at me this whole time. She's her face mask and everything else is based off the 6,000-year-old body they found in Germany, which looks a lot like this with the fringe over the eyes and the antlers and such. She's frequently called the shaman of Germany. She's about 6,000 years old. So anyway, the Ancestor Workshop went really, really well. I was very happy with it. And again, a lot of my workshops, like the ones that I put on this year are ones that I've done before, except for the one I did with Melody or Mother Multiverse. So I know what makes a good workshop by now with at least some of these. What makes an excellent one is the audience participation, and Indy drummed for this one. Because I was a dumbass and forgot my drum upstairs and went, well, fuck, I don't have my drum. Screw it. We're just going to use our bodies because our bodies can work as drums.
Indy's drum is also beautiful. They hand-painted their drum themselves. It's a gorgeous bodhrán.
Yeah, it's really nice. And hearing it being played during the ritual was really especially good.
Yeah.
I almost bought one in the art room. She looks fabulous. Yeah, they're really fucking cool. Heidi is amazing. Yeah, it worked out wonderfully.
Yeah. Can you drop the artist name so folks can look them up?
Maybe. Let me see if I can find them.
Emily, if you remember, can you drop the name?
I know their name is Heidi. So I will.
Excuse me.
But I will continue on until we get to a point where I can drop out of conversation for a moment.
You're good.
So
hey, Cat.
Hey, Cat.
Sneaks in and sits in the back, which is why we're going to call you out.
Drags Cat the elder section in front.
Yep.
Hi, Cat. Such a privilege to be able to drum there. It really helped me get deep into the ritual. So I used myself as a transfer a while after. Well, see, that's why during the actual ritual, I was walking around. Was to check on people and make sure you weren't going into the underworld, because that's not the point. The point is to bring the ancestors to us in that ritual. When I did that for Many Gods West, I actually held a procession and did that.
Nice.
And I was like, there's too many fucking people for a procession here.
Yeah.
Nah, y'all just sit. Yeah. We don't recall. We can put it in server later. Yeah. So that's what we'll do.
We'll put it in server later.
Yep. I don't think I went to anything else that night. After calling to the ancestors. Nope. No, I don't think I went to anything else. I think I just chilled the rest of the night, which was nice. I think we hung out for most of the night, actually.
Yep.
Because that was Friday evening.
Yeah, Friday evening is when I showed up. Had dinner with Indy, Trace, Sarenth, and Emily, and Joe.
Oh!
I believe.
You know what?
Emily
made a really good point.
Yep, you did go.
Of course, I don't remember because I was in transfer an hour and a half.
That's fine. And then you hung out with us in Indy's room with all the booze, and we drank a bunch of Shrams, and Indy brought some cocktails, and it was good stuff. Good night.
Yeah, I think I went through about 12 people for that divination invitational. I didn't even know Josie was in the fucking room with me. I was just like, I have divining to do. I got up to get some water, come back, and do some more readings, and that was about it. Yeah, and then we hung out. Yeah, that was really cool. Mm-hmm. And the Shrams, folks, if you ever come to Michigan, or if you ever get a chance to have Shrams mead, get it. It is so fucking good.
It is really good. It is really good.
Probably hands down the best mead I've ever had.
I stick by that they are the best commercial meadery in the country. There are a couple that are pretty close. Garagiste, Superstition. There's a couple that are pretty close, but I stick with Shrams is the best. You do need to know that it is on the sweet side. They tend to do dessert meads.
Thank the gods. I don't like dries.
Sorry, my neighbor's dog is very loud and very excited. So
I was wondering what the fuck that was. Like, those aren't your cats. Like, those are some weird fucking sounding cats, my friend. It was so fucking good, worth every penny. Yes, it was excellent meat and excellent company. Aw, I had a great time with Maleck and Dean Trace just chatting. Yeah, that was really cool. I really appreciated the time and ability to do that. And like that's the other thing about con that's really awesome is that, okay, well, if I don't have the spoons to go to yet another workshop, I've had some cons where it is wall-to-wall workshop and I'm going every hour and a half. I'm going to a new one. I'm going to a new one. I'm going to a new one. Nah, not this year.
No, you need time to decompress. Hey, give me 1 second. I'm having asthma thing. I'm going to grab my inhaler. I'll be right back. Please.
No problem. I will keep on talking because God knows if I can do anything. So Maleck and Indy both did reads that night too. It was quality pack time. Yeah, that's the other cool thing about coming to these is a lot of these cons provide us central meeting places where we can meet together in a safe space and enjoy each other's company and let our freak flags fly and let our gods mingle. See, folks, I'm drinking water. It's a good thing. I've been drinking, so I'm drinking water. But letting your freak flags fly, letting your gods commingle, and letting everybody kind of get together and enjoy one another's company. I'm going to do something I should have done at the top of the store, the top of the show, excuse me, not the store. And I am going to make an offering. Hail to all of our gods, ancestors, and Vatir. Hail to you, O blessed ones. Stuhail. It was a healthy offering. It's been a minute. So, offerings made.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Oh no! Please have an asthma attack on there.
Yeah, I need to be able to breathe. Turns out.
fucking weird. One of the things that I had at Horrocks that I really enjoyed was Schneider's, which is my actual like given last name. I really, really loved it. So I'll be looking for a Schneider beer again at some point. Nice. Did you get to see talk to everyone you wanted to? No. After 3 years of not seeing each other? No. And for me, what was really fucking weird was every year I would see Ellie Sheva and Ken Day there. And Ellie Sheva unfortunately passed away from cancer last year. And I was really looking forward to seeing them this year because we were supposed to talk and meet up and everything. And we just didn't have the ability to between COVID and me being sick and holidays and things being what they were.
Yeah.
Most of the Sarenth classes were more intense than I expected, so taking time after to decompress was helpful. I agree. Also, as the person who put those workshops on, they were more intense this year than they were previous times. In previous years, I could do my workshops and go to somebody else's shit and be just fine. This year was like, nah, chief. No, this is a bad idea. Do you want to die? This is how you die. Yeah. Are you fucking real? God damn it. The art room isn't even mentioned in the program book. God. Oops. That is very frustrating. Yeah. We will have to tell them of that oversight.
Yep.
I am now switching to Heif Weissbier Naturib, which is a Kapuzinger Weissbier. It's a German import, y'all. I happen to like really dark beer or really light beer. So, yeah. Sarenth did get to reconnect with a lot of people, but there was still limited time for so many people. Yeah.
And why you consider it a working weekend. Yeah.
My poor partner.
I
feel so bad for you. There's another person you just talked. No, you're cool. Go. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. I'll see you when I see you. God knows when that is.
You know, that's why they make the internet, and
this is very true. So what did you do Saturday?
What did I do Saturday? So I was up really late. I don't think I got home until like 2 in the morning. 3 in the morning.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I was up really late, just hanging out with Emily and Indian Trace. And then, so I slept in, and then didn't roll into con until 4, maybe.
Okay.
Basically, when I rolled in was just before we sat down for dinner on Saturday evening.
Oh, okay. The reason I ask is because I did a shitload of stuff Saturday, so I wanted to give you a chance to talk.
Yep. No. Basically, con for me was genuinely, it was social track. That's what I was doing. I was hanging out with people who I don't get the chance to see in person. And then, as Kai Oakenshield says, fashionably late. Yes, very much. Rolled in Saturday around 4, hung out with people basically all day, went to the what time was the it was at 9:30 was went to the 9:30 ritual, which I only bought the ticket at 9 o'clock, I think, maybe 8:30. And from there, that was basically it. That was con for me, was hanging out with people, doing stuff in hotel rooms, and then that one ritual, which was very good. And I'll talk about it when we get there, but
because Saturday during the morning, that kind of kicked my ass. I'm not gonna lie. So 9:30 in the morning. Let me see. How did we phrase this fucking thing? To swear, to witness, to hold oaths and metaphysics. We are not going to do that workshop for a couple of years because metaphysically, that one really hits hard for Melody and I as teachers.
Because you actually broke an oath in the middle of that class, right?
Intentionally.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been. Some of the nastiness of it got absorbed because we were asking Tyr and Forseti to witness the oath specifically so it could be broken, specifically so we could teach people what that feels like.
Yeah. Like you were doing the thing on purpose, which I think lessens the blow a little bit. And it
doesn't stop it.
Oh, yeah. No. Absolutely not. And also, it wasn't a major oath, quote unquote, if such a
No. Like in terms of degrees of oaths, what we basically swore to do was to teach to the best of our ability. And what we did was we had at least one person sit that oath out and then tell them they had to leave so that we could not fulfill our oath. So the whole time, I actually cleansed with consent. I cleansed the space, grounded the space, made it as much into a clean room as I possibly could, spiritually speaking, so that people could experience what it was like to feel an oath being made, to feel an oath being formed as witnesses, and then to feel that break.
Yeah.
And almost as importantly, if not more importantly, to feel what it's like to bring that person back into community and back into right alignment.
But still, that's incredibly taxing. It was physically painful, but thankfully you did mending work after breaking it, which is, yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. I do not recommend this for somebody who's fresh new to this. I don't even recommend this for most people in general. Melody and I kind of know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah. No, oaths are serious business. As Jason says, evil smiling, such a fun class. Melody and I discussed that class a lot. Yeah, I've been there for at least some of the discussions while it was being planned and stuff. That was a really intense class. And
it was so good, but it sucked so hard. This is a class we're not going to be offering every year. We might offer it every 2, maybe 4. And something Emily says here, I'm so glad Melody was the co-host. She thought out how the teachers break the oath without putting that on the students. See, my stupid ass would have had everybody in the room make a teacher oath and a student oath, and then have one of the students walk out of the room.
Ooh,
that's how I originally conceived of that going, and they were like, no, we're the teachers, we take on that debt.
Yeah, I think that's a better idea. Yeah.
No. See, this is sometimes why you need to co-host shit, because if you left your own devices, you're going to hurt yourself and others.
Yeah. Which, like, I get where you're coming from with the thought. Like, it's a thought. I'm glad
it's not a good one.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't do that.
Me too. Her way was way better.
Yeah.
So yeah, we both got the metaphysical hit from that. But what we also wanted to impress upon people was this is what it feels like to witness and then have that oath that you're supposed to help them hold be broken. So it still rippled out and hurt them. So
yeah.
But it gives them that in a yeah, so having a student refrain from taking the oath was an excellent idea. It helped greatly the student had experience witnessing oaths anyway. That is very true. We really fucking lucked out that Zavi did that for us. Zavi's from the Temple of Arcadia and knows their shit, and they're awesome people.
That's good.
How to turn a room speed run. Yeah, no shit.
No shit.
It's thought. Not a good one, but a thought. Yeah, nah.
A
lot of interesting feedback. Yeah, that class, I am exceptionally proud of it, but that is not a class I will be doing every 4 years if I can help it. Maybe.
Yeah. All right. So what else did you do Saturday?
Saturday at 2, I did Being a Spirit Worker. I don't recall actually doing anything in between them because the Being a Spirit Worker was at 2. Yeah, no. I said no. Fuck it, because it was
you're dealing with all that fucking feedback. So,
and debriefing with Melody was much more important than going to a workshop.
Yeah,
and then yeah, we had lunch. Oh shit! See, this is why it's so helpful to have a chat here, keeping me somewhat on key. So we had lunch, and then I went to Being a Spirit Worker. That was good. That was wild because they stuck me in Windsor, which is a tiny fucking room, which maybe can hold 20 people. It's full of round tables. At the time, it was like 5 or 6. And I'm like, there ain't no fucking way. We've already broke the fire marshal code by just walking in here with as many people as we did. It turns out we had something like 45 people, 50 people maybe.
That makes sense.
It was a lot. So they ended up moving us. And because I went to ops and I was like, look, folks, this is not going to work. We've got, it says we've got 33 on the schedule. I don't think don't think that's accurate anymore. Head of security took one good look in there and went, nope, let's get you out of there.
Switch. Yeah.
We ended up next to the classroom where Josie and Kai had their inclusivity. What the fuck do you call it? Workshop. Jeebus. So being a spirit worker was great. It was basically me doing an 1.5 hour workshop lecture thing on being a spirit worker. It is what it says on the tin. Good times. The Trans Magic Weirdlings class right after that was really, really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Like that the Temple of Arcadia are awesome folks. I highly recommend people go check them out. They're looking for a new space to permanently hold their workshops, their sacred space. Take care, Indy. Thank you for coming.
Bye, Indy.
Oops. I clicked the same time you did.
We keep doing that.
I don't think I did anything else. The rest, let me double check. Yeah, I missed the charity raffle. I missed fucking yeah. So the next thing I went to was supposed to be that Detroit ritual.
Yeah, because after that we went to dinner, and then after that hung out for a while. You got some rest, and then we went to the Detroit ritual. Right, because you got pulled into judging the costume stuff for the kids masquerade, and then the adult masquerade after that.
Yeah. Which it turns out was like me and 3 other people. It was really funny. I thought they were going to make me do the judging in terms of like doing the emceeing for it, but it turned out somebody with a Mega Charizard evolution costume got to do it, which nice. I was very cool with, but I got my ass trussed up anyway, so I had my wolf costume on. My wolf dancing outfit, which is like sitting right behind me.
Which is a full wolf skin.
It's a full 6-foot wolf skin from tail to nose. He is beautiful, and I'm very happy for him. What was really fucking funny, though, is I got all trussed up thinking, I'm going to announce to the kids the Big Bad Wolf's going to announce the costume competition. And it was just so chill and so relaxed. It was actually way better than what I thought they were shoving me into, so I was okay with it.
Good. Yeah, and now we get to the...
Now we finally get to talk about the Detroit ritual, which I'm going to mute.
It was really, really good. So we get there, and Sarenth is actually helping with a bunch of the prep. And technically, several of us are, because they didn't have enough water pitchers, or didn't think they were going to have enough water pitchers, because water was a primary part of the ritual. And so, we're running to different rooms, grabbing water pitchers just in case, bring them back. Because they needed 7 water pitchers. There's 7 kind of historic districts in Detroit, which I do not remember all the districts. So they had seven pitchers, and they had a bunch of gallons of water from a bottling company that pulled from the Detroit River for bottling. And the basis of the ritual is basically they played a number of songs that were all from artists either from Detroit or who were important to Detroit for whatever reason. And they basically the point of the ritual was kind of twofold. Was one, to invoke the spirit of Detroit, so that the spirit of the city itself, which is distinct from the land spirit, as explained by the ritual leader in this case. In this particular case, Detroit City is separate from the land spirit underneath. And the spirit of Detroit was invoked so that they could come and talk to people individually. The spirit of Detroit picked all the music, helped like kind of build out the ritual plan, et cetera, et cetera. It was all very spirit-led ritual structure. And so the spirit of Detroit is talking to you through the music, or directly, or both. I'm I know myself and several others had like really good in-depth conversations with the spirit, and then also at certain points we're like, cool, we're going to shut up now because you need to listen to this song in its entirety. That happened to me with one of the songs, and there was other portions of different songs that played that were very important and moving. In particular, there was a song about unions and forming unions that was, I just started weeping. It was good and important. But then kind of the active portion of the ritual was they had this bowl of water that was from the Detroit River, and these 7 pitchers representing the different districts. And as you were called, get up, take a little paper Dixie cup, and make offerings to whichever district, which the pitchers for the districts were specifically not labeled. Even they didn't know, even the ritual runners did not know which pitcher represented which district. So it was just the spirit of Detroit is deciding where this energy goes. And so you poured offerings as you were called to give the energy to whatever district you felt needed it without knowing necessarily which district that was. And when the ritual was over, they were saving all of the water, and that water would then be poured back into the Detroit River to allow the river spirit to distribute that energy for the city of Detroit where it needed to go. It was a really powerful, interesting ritual. I haven't been to a ritual like that, which I'm really glad I went. Not just for the interaction, but also kind of for the ritual structure, which was interesting and unique. And I hadn't been to a ritual like that. Not that it was a ritual that made perfect sense. It was very cohesive, but it was interesting, and it was very good. As Emily says, it was a much more ecstatic ritual than I expected. It was lovely. Yeah, there was an interesting amount of kind of movement and ecstasy to it, despite not really being what I would classically call like an ecstatic ritual. Like there wasn't drumming, there wasn't like a section that was specified for dance or anything like that. But still, people were up and moving and dancing and doing the thing.
Oh, you were actually interacting with a spirit, so you need that shit.
Yeah. And actually the ritual leaders, so a thing that they did that I thought was very good and important, and I will actually be doing, I have in all of my rituals kind of tried to at least emphasize consent and all of that, but they were extremely forward about it in a way that I really appreciated it, and then I haven't done. And so that's a thing that I will be adopting from going to that ritual is kind of a lot of the tools that they use to approach consent and pre-setup and aftercare was a thing that I will be adopting for myself for future use because it was just very, very good. And a thing that they specifically called out as part of that kind of consent talk was, so this is not a Wiccan style ritual. There are no intercessor spirits here. You are going to be interacting directly with primarily the spirit of the city of Detroit, but there will also be ancestor spirits here. There will also be land spirits here. There will also be the river of Detroit, the spirit of the Detroit River will also be here. Like you'll be interacting directly with these spirits. This might be more intense than you're used to if you're only used to kind of ritual that's got intercessor spirits. Be ready for that, and if you need something, let us know. But yeah, it was very it was very good, and that is how I do my rituals and how my practice looks anyway. So like I was ready for that, right? Like I don't do intercessor spirits very much. So like I was ready for that, but I appreciate that they did it that way because I realize that not everyone does that. So and they were also very good about kind of hanging out after being Melkor makes a good point. Arguably, the river and city spirits are ancestors, and in a way, yeah, they are. That's not how it was approached in the ritual, but yeah, that's a good fucking point.
I actually approach river and city spirits themselves basically as gods.
Yeah,
because they're part of the organizing principle of whatever's flowing in them through them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very polytheist way of doing it, but animist way would be like, these are big spirits.
Yeah.
And really, when you get right down to brass tacks, what's the fucking difference?
I increasingly do not find God to be a useful term. Like, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a conversation we can have later, but like, increasingly I'm like, or rather, I have never come across a functional definition of God that does not apply to what other people would call big spirits that
Right.
works.
Right. And I mean, that's kind of the thing that I'm getting at, though, is the difference between a big spirit and a god. For me, the difference is it part of the organizing principle? An organizing principle can be local, it can be
universal,
cosmic, whatever. The point being is that what I differentiate a god from other big spirits on is merely, are you part of an organizing principle or not? And increasingly, this river, that tree, this rock, that mountain all qualifies if your lens is big or small enough.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I'm coming from, is like, that works and I get it. And like, I'm not disagreeing with your definition. It just doesn't work for me because, like,
no, I mean, but God is a handbag term, right?
Yeah, and so I would rather just say spirit because it's more inclusive, and frankly, the spirits that I work with, right, the pack spirits, I also work with a bunch of heathen gods and all of that, but like the pack spirits, they approach me using the term spirit. In another tradition, if they were in a heathen tradition, they would be considered gods, but they don't use that word with me. They use the word spirit.
I mean, we don't even, like, we have ideas that were adapted into Christian parlance.
Mm-hmm.
And who was and wasn't a god is actually a bit murkier than people like to believe.
Yeah. Look at all the
Jotnar are definitely part of that milieu. Anybody who says that Jotnar were worshipped, historically speaking, is completely full of shit if they're using any written sources at all.
Yep. And also, even the archaeological sources, there's the cave where there's very clear offerings to Surt.
Yep.
It's literally named after him. It's a volcanic cave in Iceland that's named after Surt, and there's very clear evidence of ritual being done there and offerings being made. Were they propitiatory? Probably. We can't say for sure, though. We don't know. There's no
not to put too fine a point on it, but Pele is very highly respected and worshipped, and many of the offerings made to her are also propitiatory.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Like, the heathen taking the pedantic route, lol. Hey, fuck you, I resemble that remark.
Right. First of all, and Josie says the Detroit ritual was a perfect ending.
I am so happy to hear that. Like,
it was the only thing that I actually did officially at con, but it was perfect. I'm really glad that I went. Another thing that was part of the ritual was there was a portion where you could they had little like pieces of paper and pens. You could go up, and if you were called to, and they were very clear about, hey, if you are making deals,
write this shit down.
Yeah, one, write that shit down, and two, understand that you will be held to that. Like, and Diana told a story about how she made a deal with the city of Detroit and didn't hold up to it.
I like it when teachers bring that shit.
Yep, and was fucking held to it. Was the spirit of Detroit told her, hey, if you do not do this, this is what's going to happen. And sure as shit, that's what fucking happened when she didn't hold up to her end. And
yep, bitch, it's Christmas.
Yep, and it wasn't anything bad, but it was like, yeah, no, this is what's going to happen. You will be held to these. Like, don't make deals that you can't hold up. And very specifically, it was, we're not encouraging you to make deals. We're not encouraging you. But
Right.
if you do, if you are called to, and if you agree to, make sure
consent is. The thing is, like, spirits understand consent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the thing that I appreciate about how Cinti and Diana do things is they will tell you this is how deep the water is. How far you put your toes and your foot in is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
Like, Cinti and Diana have my trust. They are great people.
Absolutely. And I did deal isn't quite the right word, but I did write down on a piece of paper a thing that I would do for the city of Detroit, which I'm not going to go into. And they specifically were like, that's between you and the spirit. We're not going to read these. When we're done with this ritual, these will be burned and the ashes will be spread either into the river or nearby as we're called by the spirit at the time. And we will not read these. That's between you and the spirit.
I think it's really important to point out, like, historically speaking, whoops, I'm sorry, sweetheart. Some of the most important things that you can do is establishing good relationships with your local Lonvatier anyway. Mm-hmm. The Detroit River is literally where most of Detroit gets its fucking drinking water from.
Yep.
Like, not having a good relationship with the source of life is fucking boneheaded.
Yep. And that was for me a particularly important part of this ritual. While absolutely the main player in the ritual for me was the city of Detroit, which is interesting because I wasn't expecting to get the amount of interaction that I got, because I lived in Dearborn, actually less than 2 miles from the hotel for a year.
Sure.
And the spirit of Detroit and I, we weren't like unfriendly, like we get along, but it's very much not home. Like Ann Arbor and I get along very, very well. Detroit always feels slightly foreign to me.
Because you're foreign.
Oh, yes. But like, it's not a, I could move here. I could make a home here. It's I lived there for a year and it's a good thing I left.
Well, I feel the same way about Flint. Flint was very accommodating and very generous to my family and I. However, I clearly was a stranger in a strange land. And clearly this strange land was looking out for me because I got into some stupid shit that probably should have gotten me killed.
Yeah. And like,
mostly because I was an ignorant, like 20-something white boy with really rose-colored glasses. So to a certain extent, like the city spirits that you're not supposed to bunk with might be really chill with you because you're an idiot outsider. And it really that was my experience with Flint.
And that's kind of how it is for me in Detroit. Like, we get along, cordial, very good. I wasn't expecting for that ritual to be as intense for me as it is, or as it was. But it was very intense. It was very in depth for me in a way that I wasn't expecting. And I think that part of that was because of my relationship with river spirits. I've got a very, very close relationship with the Huron River. And for me, as it was presented to me by the Huron River, the Detroit River is her husband, or at least
right. That makes total sense. Because I mean, those two fuck.
Yep, like flatly, yes. And
like, just like, if anybody's actually like taken a map, blown it out, these tributaries come together at points.
Yeah. And so, like, I'm not surprised that the Detroit River kind of at least knows of me.
God damn.
And then sorry, I'm making sure that I'm not saying things I'm not supposed to.
You're cool. I'm actually going to read some comments because these are fucking funny.
Yeah, please do.
So Jason says, hey, Flint is great at taking care of people who are really not supposed to be there. Well, to be fair to Flint, I stayed there for 3 fucking years and got up to some stupid shit. Like, nothing like I was dumb, drunk white boy or anything like that, but like, wrong side of town, dumb shit, trying to be a good person, help people kind of thing. We'll talk about it in the after party. It's fucking funny.
Yeah.
The city of Flint Spirit just patting younger Sarenth on the head. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is a thing, like when you're putting your best foot forward with a good spirit, and it's like a big city spirit. I've had this experience with Ann Arbor as well, where I'm like, y'all, I don't know where the fuck I am. Please help me. I can't find my car. Let me lay down some offerings. And I've got like a coffee in my hand that I bought because Starbucks was there and warm. And eventually, like 20 minutes later, I find my car, and it was where I'd been originally, and I just didn't see it. Well, you're not wrong, Melkor. They knew I was trying to help, and they also knew that I was kind of a hapless dipshit who'd never been outside of his own hometown before.
Yeah. Sometimes
you it's adorable. It's trying. It's stupid, but it's trying.
He confused me. He got the spirit.
Oh god! Like Flint is a great city. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I am seriously not shitting on Flint. Flint has a lot of really cool things going for it. And if you ever get a chance to check out the Museum of Art or any of the several other museums they have there, they're fucking amazing. And the professors that run those are some of the people that have taught my ignorant white ass. So, yeah, awesome folks.
Yeah.
Oh boy, one of my crazy metaphysical. Go for it. Go for it.
One of my most crazy metaphysical events happened, drunken wanderings in Flint. Jesus, Jason. All right, so we're just going to have Flint stories in the after party. It's going to be great.
Yeah, better we just bring Jason on and he tells the story again.
Or, yeah, that's fine too.
Hey, you're going to blow up my fucking chat? You're going to come on the show.
Yeah. I mean, Jason's been on like 3 or 4 times at this point.
This is true.
Yeah, Josie's telling me we're at an hour and 16, but we've got a little bit left, and I'm okay with this being a longer episode.
I don't think I actually did anything besides closing Writ Sunday because I was too fried.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, you were there for kind of closing up the Detroit ritual, which was nice to be able to.
I was there for pre and post ritual. I did not get to participate, and I was mighty sore about that.
Honestly, I am kind of glad you didn't. Not because, like, it's not a thing you should have been there for, but rather because I'm pretty sure we would have been carrying you upstairs after.
I'm sure, because for some fucking reason, Detroit likes me. I don't know.
And also, again, it was an ecstatic ritual, and yeah, like, you were already tired and tranced out all weekend, so... yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have just...
Let me give you an assignment that doesn't involve trance. You just have to look at kids and costumes and judge who gets to be number one. The points are made up and the game doesn't matter. The kids are just happy to be there. It was great.
But yeah, I think for me, part of the connection was my connection with river spirits, which tends to be really intense, which, is a thing that I'm very glad for because they're very good to me and I really appreciate the relationship. And then Sunday for me was Indy and Trace came over here and hung out for a few hours before they both had to leave because Indy had a flight to catch. That was it.
It was thank you for reminding me, Emily, because thank the gods at least one of us can keep our shit together. You slept in on Sunday. Someone needed his spiritual services, so just closing ritual, then bonding time with Indy and Trace. Yeah, so I had people asking me like, so can I schedule a reading for this weekend? I'm like, are you all out of your fucking gourds?
No.
I have 4 classes. Maybe I have time for one of you. And I'm really happy that they got a hold of me and I ended up doing the reading. It was really good. It was really intense. Yeah. I have to say, okay, so Con was kind of fucked from a staffing point of view in terms of the actual staff of the hotel. And the reason is because these people were almost entirely new. There were a couple of regulars that I remember from previous years who were doing like the food service and bartending, but like these were folks who had been there for literally years. And I had probably seen them during most, if not many of the cons that I went to for Convocation. The problem is that a lot of the intermingling staff in between that point, whether it was housekeeping, the front desk workers, a lot of the back office workers, even at that point, were fucking new as of that year. They were starting off with a huge fucking handicap on top of a storm. I think,
ice storm, yeah.
Personally speaking, they did the best they fucking could with an absolute dog shit of a situation. And huge kudos goes out to Dearborn.
Yeah, no,
like Dearborn Doubletree Hill.
The staff were doing the best they could. If I blame anyone, I'm blaming management because that's where blame fucking lies.
Absolutely. They knew this convention was coming.
They knew the convention was coming. You should have been calling staff. You should have been calling backup, like flat out. There should have been more people on the floor. But even that said, you know, they did the best they could with, frankly, a shit situation. Because, again, it was con, which is always big, always booked out. And then they were also dealing with the aftermath of a massive ice storm that they weren't expecting.
The other part of this that I really have to hand off is to my partner. Because Emily, I got some time to myself with the hotel spirits, my journal, and my cards on Sunday. Nice time to wind down before helping Sarenth a little and getting us out. She is kind of burying the fucking lead here, okay? The reason I came out of that weekend able to function and remember any of it was because of her. I had so many people asking me questions, asking for impromptu spirit work sometimes. And I would turn around and go, can you help me carry this thing? Can you help me get back to the hotel room in one piece? I would not.
All weekend.
Well, to be clear, Emily is her own spirit worker who is a peer and a colleague, somebody that I hold in exceptionally high esteem. And I would not be able to function that weekend, let alone probably remember most of it without her.
Yeah.
And I don't think that our ground crews, whether that's con, hotel staff, the people who make our lives possible, get enough of that praise. I would not have been able to function that weekend the way I did without Emily helping me out. And I'm not saying this merely because she's my partner, because I could sing her praises to the moon and back, no problem. But like specifically for this weekend, she really came in the clutch for me on several occasions where I didn't know I needed to eat. Like, I get into spirit work sometimes. You remember 2020. Yeah. You remember how fucking gone I was.
Yeah. No, there was times in 2020, there was times where who at the time only kind of knew you, was like, Sarenth, sit the fuck down. Here's food. Like, you need to eat.
Can you highlight that? I'm really starting to feel the booze. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Disappears into a hole. Thanks, hon. I went in prioritizing supporting you.
Honestly, like, sometimes, like, it's funny, like, because that's actually what I went into that weekend for other people with. And, like, between the workshops and the what did you call it? Like the social track. Mm-hmm. That's where a lot of the impact of work, you know. It's funny that you mentioned that. I was also surprised.
I was pleasantly surprised that there was less aftercare needed from me for Sarenth.
But that's because you did such a good job of front loading. Because like if I hadn't had you there, like so much more would have been needed to be done for me after the fact. So the fact that you were there for me and helping was amazing.
And that kind of highlights really the importance of ground crew, whether it's a big ecstatic ritual or a con in general or off the cuff spirit work or a reading or whatever. Like the care before and after, both for the leader as it were and for the participant, is key. Like you know, it's not what you, for the participant in the ritual, it's not what goes on in the ritual, it's what you do after. And it doesn't matter if you have a great ritual, if you can't walk away from it, what the fuck was the point?
Well, I mean so it's funny that things happened the way it did for me for the Detroit ritual, but it was also absolutely necessary because Diane and Cinti had somebody they're teaching there who needed support post-ritual, and neither one of them had the wherewithal to provide it. And it was like, oh, I slotted perfectly here like it's a fucking setup. And I am not going to tell their tale because their tale is their own.
Yeah.
But the way that I got drafted for what I got drafted was almost too fucking perfect, and I definitely know Detroit Spirit had a hand in that. But sometimes if you give that trust to the spirits, they're not only going to take care of you, they're going to take care of you better than you think you deserve or think that you need. Because you're in here and they're out here and going, oh, honey.
Yeah.
Something I want to highlight was Emily saying, I did a few bits of spirit work to help me out, but more of it was just remembering and reminding. As somebody who has tranced almost the entire weekend of con before, that is not a small thing.
Yep.
It seems like a small thing, but that's also why security is so important for Convocation and why I'm so goddamn proud of them, especially this year, because in previous years, some of these motherfuckers couldn't match their weight out of the paper bag. And I don't mean any offense to the people who are working security as volunteers, because it's an all volunteer force. But some of these motherfuckers didn't know their shit, and some of the heavy hitters who were leading security had to pick up a lot of slack. This was not the case this year. The people they had for security were fucking on the ball. If I hadn't known what to look for, I wouldn't have known if there was an emergency going on.
Yeah.
They were fan-fucking-tastic. Like, serious kudos to con staff.
And that's the thing with ground crew. I've got a friend who is fully a brick. Like, they can be in the middle of a super...
Bricks are amazing people. Seriously.
Right? Like, they can be in the middle of a huge fucking ritual where literally everyone else is tranced out of their mind, can barely tell what's going on physically, and they feel nothing. They feel not a bit of it. And they're constantly down on themselves like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be helpful. I don't know if I can do anything. And it's like, no, you are arguably the most useful person in this room because the rest of us don't know what the fuck is going on.
Or what's worse is we do know what's going on and we're sucked up in the current and we can't get out of it.
Yeah, right. If the room is on fire.
And you are the immovable object in this constantly moving ritual.
Right? Like, if the room is on fire, none of the rest of us will leave. You will get us all out safely.
Yep.
If one of us stops breathing, you will make sure that everything is okay. I know because I've been there when shit hit the fan and they were there and they made sure things were fine. And it's like, look, I've seen you do absurd things. Having someone who will be there and keep track of the mundane shit is really important. And I really can't emphasize that enough.
Kai makes a really fucking good point here. Ground is what keeps us operating when it all starts going wiggly, the most important. Yeah. Abso-fucking-lutely, because at the end of the day, if there's blood on my hands, I need to know that it was freely given and nobody's dead.
Yep. As Corinne says, Brick Dad, and as Josie says, we all love Brick Dad. And
absolutely.
Yay for Bricky Buds. Yeah, like, seriously,
I would not be able to do the work I do.
Existing in the now constantly is a blessing. Go Brick Dad. Yeah, like, seriously.
Yeah. That says it all right there. Me head shaking them, keeping things in place. Yeah, absolutely. That's the other thing. Like, having somebody that is part of but not in the ritual is so fucking important. Yeah. And I mean, I am not a goddamn brick, but in my own workshop, I had to be that locus of control of, okay, I got to pay attention to the energy. How is it going? Where is it going? Who's going where? Please don't fucking leave without your goddamn guides. Don't go journeying into the fucking underworld. That's not the point here. Get back. No, what is that in your mouth? No, bad. Get it out of your fucking mouth.
Drop it.
It works for kids and dogs. Yep. But I mean, like, legit. I think I was able to let go more during the Spirit of Detroit ritual because I knew Sarenth didn't need me at the time, though I did have to pull myself down a bit at one point during it. That's a good point. Like, some of us who are really free floaty actually give other people permission to be more floaty by not being present.
Yeah.
Sometimes the reason you're not going to a workshop or a ritual is because not only is it not for you, but your presence will actually affect the vibe for everybody else, and will either fuck it up or change it significantly enough to where they're not going to be able to get down far enough, or opposite could happen, they get too far into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like different roles for different people. Like it's easier for me, for example, to be that kind of ground person than it is for Sarenth. So if we're both in a ritual, I will tend more towards the ground person than Sarenth will.
I gotta hand it to anybody that can do multiple roles.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody that can do multiple roles, you're a fucking godsend. Take care, Kat. Thank you so much for showing up.
Good night.
And being adaptable is actually a really excellent skill. Like not just in terms of ritual, but in terms of like life in general, but especially when it comes to ritual, being able to be like, okay, I am not facilitating this so I can be what you need. Those people are fucking gold for a ritualist.
Yeah.
So like being able to be there for Diane and Cinti in that fashion was actually really cool for me, because I'm usually in the middle with people, and I'm honestly, a lot of times nowadays, I'm not ground crew, I'm facilitating. So it's actually kind of nice to occasionally be asked to be ground crew.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, God. What?
Josie says, clearly I'm ready for the after party. I heard that as anyone that can do multiple wolves.
And with that...
honestly, on that note, we've been going at this for an hour and a half. So let's go ahead and call this for the after party.
I really appreciate everybody showing up in the chat and interacting. I really appreciate folks showing up in general. This show is like my monthly, like, take this deck out and enjoy myself kind of a time. Yeah. It's really good. Especially with a lot of the things that I got going on. I really appreciate being able to just let loose and enjoy people's company.
Yeah. So in short, Con was good. Despite, wildly different experiences between Sarenth and I. Con was extremely chill for me and was very intense for you.
This is my shocked face. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate being able to do the show with you. And
you as well.
Like, seriously, it's like, shout out to all our Patreon sponsors, all the people that share the show, all the people that do the good work of sharing around the show itself, and for just being part. I really appreciate it, and thank you all.
Yep. So for those of us who will be at the after party, see you there, and if not, then we will see you next month. Thanks, y'all, and have a wonderful time.
Yes, well.